Hi there, Jessica here. Welcome back to My Transgender Nation. Today I thought I would do a video and talk about my experiences with taking hormones and the effects that it has had and what it hasn't had. And this is just from my point of view. I would not consider myself to be an expert on this subject. I just want to give you my story and how I've gone through it with taking hormones. So let's start off with how I started this. I started off with pills. And after doing pills for probably 2 months, I went to patches, and I did that for a couple of months. And then I went to injections, and the injections I find to be the best. Apparently the injections are a lot more effective than the other two. And I found it very easy to do. I found the patches left rashes on my skin, and you got to have a patch sitting on you all the time. So I really didn't like that at all. And as I said, the injections are definitely more effective than like taking pills. So I chose to do injections. I give myself the injections once a week. I do it in my upper thigh. And what I have found with doing the injections is the easiest way to, I find it super simple to do. People get so freaked out about doing this, and I don't understand why. It's not, really isn't a big deal. All you have to do is get yourself comfortable. I typically lie down on my bed to do it and let your muscles relax. And once you've let your muscles relax, the injection needle is so thin, it's so easy to get into your thigh. And you just do it with a relaxed muscle, and you have no soreness, and you take your time putting it in, and you can barely feel it going in if you do it correctly. So that's not a big deal. All right, so let's talk about how the effects were for me. The first thing I noticed when I first started taking the hormones was that there was an overwhelming calmness that came over me. I just felt at ease, and that came along fairly quickly. That was the first thing that I noticed. The next thing I think that I noticed was my skin getting softer. My daughter has said that I got very shiny, because you got to remember, when I started, I was completely bald on top, and she noticed that my skin was very shiny, but I noticed it to be very soft. So my skin started getting very soft. The next thing I think I noticed was a reduction in muscle mass. And over time, it has been dramatic. And I have to pause this, and I'll be right back. Okay, sorry about that. I hate when the phone rings when you're trying to record a video. That's never good. We were talking about, where was I going with that? I was talking about muscle mass. That was one of the next things that I noticed. My band underneath my breasts, when before I started, I did measurements of my whole body just before I started taking any hormones. And I had a pretty good sized chest when I started. I think my bandwidth was just over 48 inches. And now I'm down to under 44 inches around underneath my breasts. That is quite a large amount of muscle mass that I decreased. So I noticed muscle mass. I think at first, I noticed it like in my biceps, and I noticed it in my legs. So I started to notice a decrease in muscle mass. And then I noticed some breast development. And my breasts never got big enough to make me happy. I did get pretty darn good breast development, but they're not very big. And I've waited several years now, and I finally got to a place where I've decided that I'm going to have implants done. I'm getting them actually in the not too distant future. But I did have some breast development, and that took quite a while, actually. It probably took, I noticed a little bit in the first 4 months, a little bit. I mean, there was a noticeable change, but then it didn't really change a lot for probably a year or so, and then it grew a little bit and a little bit. Probably took 3 years before I saw the full amount of breast development that I did get out of doing this, but it took a while. I noticed also over time that like a redistribution of fat on my body. I found that I always had, when I was a guy, everybody told me I had chicken legs. And now that I am a girl, everybody says I have hot legs. I guess, that's how this all works out. But my thighs were fairly thin before I started, and I ended up having a lot more fat on my thighs. And it looks pretty good, actually. I noticed like around my waistline where the fat sits on my body seems to be much lower than it used to be. It used to be right up underneath my breastplate was where I would the fat on my stomach area would sit, and now it's much lower than that. I noticed my arms got thinner and thinner over time. It's amazing to me how much thinner my arms now are from where I started. I was a pretty bulky guy when I started. Before I began hormones, I think I was just under 230 pounds. And I was overweight but not fat. I was just a big guy. And now I am probably right around 188 pounds. And I'm still muscular, but not like a guy. Not at all, thankfully. So those are the changes. So, I hear people talking about, they were hoping their hair is going to grow more, their beard is going to disappear. No. I have had a lot of electrolysis. I never did finish my electrolysis. I wish I had finished it, but it just takes so much time and it's painful. But I did enough that even after, 24 hours, there's some hair growth. And if you look really close, you can see it. But once I've shaved, there is no beard line. You can't tell that I have a beard. So I've done enough electrolysis that I can just shave in the morning and be totally happy with it. And I'm comfortable with that. And I think for now, I'll leave that alone. Maybe down the road, eventually, I'll finish my electrolysis. But it's a time investment and a money investment to get that done. So, and hormones is not going to make your beard go away. It just doesn't happen. If you have gray or reddish hair, you cannot do laser on your face, and you have to be very careful with laser anyway. And I have mostly gray or red hair on my face, so I definitely could not do laser. So the only option on my face was electrolysis. I did do laser on my chest, around my midsection, on my back. I had a hairy back. I lasered my back, I lasered my legs, because that was all dark hair. And that worked out fabulous. I do not have hair anymore on my back. I have very little hair on my legs. Maybe once a month I have to shave a little bit of straggly hairs here and there on my legs, but other than that, I don't have any hair on my legs. I did find that the hair on my body got softer, but it didn't change its growth at all from hormones. Hormones had no effect on that whatsoever. So I think that pretty much covers everything that I can talk about with hormones for me. I take estradiol, as I said, via a shot. I also take progesterone, which I added probably 3 years into the mix, and I'm still taking that today. What does it do? I'm not sure how much it does, but I know when my prescription runs out and I don't feel it right away, I feel different. And it's hard to describe how I feel. Maybe a little more agitated or something. I'm not sure exactly, but I like how I am on the progesterone as opposed to off of it, so I keep it in the mix. And my endocrinologist is, who watches over my numbers and everything, She checks me out every 6 months. She's content with what she sees, so there's no reason to change it. So that's my story about taking hormones, going from male to female. If you have more questions about it, please send me a message. Let me know. I'm happy to answer your questions. I plan to do more videos like this one, talking about the different aspects of going through a change from male to female and my version of it. As again, I'm no expert, but I've gone through it, so I'm hoping that if I tell my story, maybe it'll help others in some way or another, or help people understand. All right, I appreciate you listening to my story. I hope you all have a great day, and we'll make another video soon. Like and subscribe, and talk to you soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.